Video that I was trying to upload. I guess my memory on my phone is a little loaded, so now I have to go live. So here it is, guys. This is the conclusion of this first video. So the first one, I think, I actually did have a lot of detail in there, so it would be worth it to watch that one. This one, I'm just going to kind of give you an overview, but I will say that I didn't actually get to the conclusive cards here at the very end, where it's just going through a little bit of an important relationship to you, and then also a little bit more on the financial front. And then I had two cards that were sort of held at the end here that I'm keeping aside just as a little bit of a follow-up here. So for the moment, I'm just going to kind of go through a little bit. And again, my first video, I think, would detail much more of what I'm just going to go through right now. But I'll just quickly say that a lot of the energy in short was a lot of back and forth energy between feeling like, you're restricted in some way, feeling stuck, trying to get rid of old baggage emotionally. That is the start of July 2023, at least in that month. And again, you're all at different timelines. The energy is going to play out a little further. Some of you might be going through this currently, but again, you all make decisions at different times. And of course, there's the energy of healing. Everybody is not healing within a week or 2 weeks, so a lot of this energy plays out over and over throughout a period of time, and sometimes we go back to that energy as well. But either way, the predominant energy I see that is always changeable, because again, this is just energy, it's not predictions, but the energy that I see here is definitely one of kind of battling externally, and then going back into this reflective space, and then battling again externally. It's not battles that you can win. I mean, the Five of Swords is a battle where, you're just triggering each other, or triggering people around you, or other people are triggered by you for reasons that are not really solid. And when I say that, it means it's more about the person's state of mind, the things going on with them. So you could walk into a room and somebody's overreading your tone, or whatever. It could be something really, walking on eggshells over silly things. So again, it's not battles that you want to try to, say, let's negotiate it out. Here's my position. Here's your position. Because it just doesn't feel like it's that kind of thing. It feels like somebody's in a mood and you're just triggering them because you're right in front of them. So when we get into, again, I'll try to give again a little bit of a scenario here of what I see. The eights, there's two of the eights, and that does mean that there is some significant change that you're trying to make in a particular area of your life, and it does seem to be around your happiness. I feel like you're in that state of feeling, trapped, and in the beginning of July, something is kind of making you feel like you have to walk on eggshells, or you have to be really guarded. You're just feeling like it's your own personal restriction. It's not a restriction that somebody's imposing on you. There's no direct blocks or anything like that. No blockages, no real tower moments or anything like that in the month of July. Everything really looks pretty good, but I feel it's all watered down. You don't feel any of that, amazing energy that's coming through, because you're too busy feeling like you have an expectation of how something should be, and it's not measuring up. And so because of that, you keep going back into this space of, I've got to, reflect on the space of my emotions. And, then somebody gets triggered, and then you're kind of, wrapped up into this little war. And then you go back into, how do I fix that? I mean, it could be reading a book, trying to find ways to make yourself a little more mentally tough, or a little more, less weary, something that's going to, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's nature, maybe it's, whatever it is for you. But you keep going back into the space of, somebody's got a trigger, and then there's back into, I need to reflect to figure my way out of it. But there is a lot of really progressive, positive energy here. Like, there's a lot of abundant emotional energy, a lot of good things that are here. But again, it's like you just don't feel it because you're too, or at least you don't feel like you can share it, maybe because it just feels too watered down. There's not a lot of connection here. It's a lot of energy of feeling somehow inwardly, like you feel like something is going in a particular direction that's abundant, or that's going to make you feel really good, and you feel like you're taking the time to really nurture yourself in the month of July. But again, there's all this other energy here that really pulls at you, that doesn't allow you to sort of feel the the happiness within this month. Like I said, I mean, even the world card does suggest that there's going to be some kind of it's a conclusive energy. Whenever you get to an end card where there's a world situation here or some kind of, tens, which there's a lot of them showing up here, there's a reward coming in. So be aware that the reward is coming in. And again, it's going to speak to you all a little bit differently. You don't all, see reward as a monetary thing. It could be an emotional thing, but whatever, there is something that's coming through here with the Ace of Cups that's giving you the indicator that you are at a conclusive energy here. A lot of these cards are in that space with the World card. And again, this is, even though these are clarifiers, which could be a little further out again for some of you, because to me, this looks like this is energy that overlaps. So your main energy that you're, considerably in would be, feeling a little bit stuck, trapped, not really sure, you're trying to, I won't say that you're not sure how to get yourself out of it, because I feel that you are. You're going into this reflective space too often. And I see growth here as well, not only just on, could be side hustle or anything like that. With the Page of Pentacles, it's money that's, you're trying to drum up, whether this is from a loan or from a school situation or whatever. It's extra money that's coming in with it's more of a new idea is what I would say, because the pages to me, indicate that it's not like new job or anything like that. It's more along a smaller scale sort of thing that, is like a token of, a new direction. It's a new direction, but it's more than that. It's not just the idea that's in the mind, it's actually moving on it in some way. And again, we also have the Page of Cups, so I feel like there's still some kind of small emotional gain as well. I want to say, though, when I say that this could be somebody else reaching out to you, could be dealing with a younger person here as well, where there's a bit of a token, which may start out as something that's quite small and, like somebody's doing something for you or somebody's considering you on some level, but then it moves into the energy of, okay, I'm a little more warm and receptive to the situation, and I'm making a little more of a gesture, a little more effort that's got a little more emotion attached to it. When I see it coupled down here with so many amazing abundant cards, again, we've got like the 10 of Cups, we've got the 9 of Cups, the 10 of Cups. There's wish fulfillment coming in on a number of levels here, as well as that Ace of Cups. Like, this is energy that's coming in that's going to be significant. And again, if it's not all coming through in July, I feel some of it will be for sure, because there's just too much of it. But for some of this, it may even play out a little bit further, because as we move down into the latter part of the month, this is where I see that wish fulfillment with the 9 of Cups. And there is kind of a group scenario or some kind of situation where there's going to be a lot more involvement with other people. So it's a gathering of some sort that could be further out into August, just because this is kind of taking place toward the end. But it certainly looks like there is some clarity on, the direction that you're going with the King of Swords. But as I mentioned in that first video, there's a lot of energy around King of Swords, of course, is your energies. It's a lot of energy around you not showing, not allowing yourself to be seen in an overly emotionally abundant, excited way. I feel like this is what you're showing on the surface. Reserve, not a lot of emotion, really contained, small gestures financially. You might be snappy, or somebody else is being snappy with you. A little bit of triggering going on here. Again, not a situation that you would entertain, because it's not one that is up for negotiation. This is a situation where everybody's just on edge. This is situation where nobody's going to win here, because it's just triggers. The moon is where you're deeply going into yourself and reflecting on the things, again, that make you happy and the things that are going to bring you abundance. I feel like you feel it. You see it. It's in the month of July. You see that there is a lot of potential here. And again, for some of you, this is new learning as well as school, something like that coming through here as well. But the card of the World card and the card of the 10 of Cups, and of course the leading with the 9 to 10 and the Ace of Cups and the Empress, this means there's a reward coming through 100%. And again, this is a reward that's either going to be, I feel some of it is coming through in the month of July, but it feels like there's something further out here too, because the World card can also indicate that there's some level of travel as well. But I feel like there's a level of disappointment around that cycle there. So whether this is maybe this is something here that I'm not sure what it is exactly with that. I'll have to come back to that one, but there's some kind of level of disappointment around this victory. Maybe things didn't quite go as planned, or is maybe there's a timing issue or something around this travel aspect. I'm not sure yet, but we'll kind of flesh it out and go into it further. Again, it feels like with the Page of Cups, there is some level of newfound happiness. There's a real connection there. And again, this could be a loving connection in terms of, doesn't have to be romance, can be just a really significant person in your life that you are getting some, finding some renewed emotional connection to. So anyway, we'll move on to the rest here. So again, okay, so we'll get right back into, and again, I mentioned the 2 8s there because it does look with the 2 8s, the 8 of Swords to the 8 of Cups, you are releasing some baggage here. So this is a situation where things can be viewed in a more positive light, but again, I feel like it's watered down, like you don't feel like you can trust. Actually, I shouldn't even say that. It's not really that you can trust. I think you know that you can trust that there's abundance coming through for you, but it's more like you just can't maybe share the joy that you feel at this time because you just know it's not really going to be appreciated. So ultimately, these are cards of things, something's holding you back in the beginning of the month, like I said, but I feel like you're finding a way to release it and sort of move into this self-discovery energy here with that Page of Pentacles. So it definitely is, you kind of leaving more of the toxic thoughts. It doesn't feel like a person specifically behind or anything like that, but it feels like you releasing yourself from the burdens mentally that you were binding yourself with. So there's a new path that you're aligning with, that's a far more abundant path here. And again, whatever that restriction or physical mental blockage was, and it feels like it's more mental, that anxiety that wasn't allowing you to sort of proceed forward, I feel like you're getting enough motivation from, the small steps that you're taking to really see that this is a path that is going to bring about a fair amount of happiness for you. So we'll get right into, again, Page of Pentacles. Definitely, as I said before, this can be you sort of dealing with somebody who is a younger person, that kind of thing. And it could be that there is a small token of some sort that is coming through here, more along the lines of maybe money or something along that front that could be offered here in July. But either way, it's more of a gesture of notice. But for you, it feels like you're feeling like it's a big gesture in some way. So for them, it's a small kind of gesture if we're looking at this from an emotional standpoint, but for you, you're feeling it in a very significant way. In terms of finances, though, as I said, that does mean that there is some side hustle. There's some new project here that's coming in. Doesn't feel like, again, not new job, anything like that. Feels like this is more along the lines of, it's a period of abundance and security that you're building here. And I feel like you're into the first steps of it. So you're not just in this stage of, oh, here's an idea. This is more along the lines of, I'm putting some effort into the situation now. And this is definitely speaking to this combination means that there's a lot of nurturing and growth going on, even for you. I feel like you're giving back to yourself at this time. There's a lot more powerful emphasis on hard work, determination, ambition, all of that. But it's almost like it's just so much growth that's going to be coming in here that it just really makes you feel a lot more whole, even in terms of a motherly sort of energy. This could be dealing with an actual maternal figure, but there's some, whatever this combination is, like I say, for you, whether it's mother, whether it's finance, whether it's child, because it can represent on a few different levels there, but it definitely has the abundance attached to it. There's growth in and prosperity that's coming through. As I said, I feel triggering energy here with that Five of Swords, not really going anywhere in terms of that. But I feel like you really do have a lot that you can create here in terms of a solid foundation, because there's a lot of cards of you being wise about things and, in that self-reflective space. The only thing one other thing that I would say, like I said, with that Five of Swords energy, it does feel like that's in around family or something like that, where it's just triggering of emotions and conflict and harsh words, more along that line. They're all fives in smaller energies, so I don't feel like it's a really big war of words, but it might be something that lasts long enough that it kind of, pangs you for a moment there. Again, Ten of Cups is certainly, happiness is going to be coming through here, like I said. But overall, it just feels like you just have to try to avoid whatever this little snappy lack of harmony situation is. You have to avoid that. You can generally pick up those things anyway, but I feel like there is a deep sense of love or connection to this person, though, because that Ten of Cups is someone I feel that you feel very connected to. And I feel like that person is somebody, that is, like I said, whether it's, actual family or somebody you think of as far as family, it's somebody that does allow a certain amount of contentment, but I feel like there's sort of a threat around that. And I don't mean big threat, but I mean there's a threat around family situation or dynamic there, as far as you trying to not have emotional turmoil, and that's somehow threatened in some way, and just making things just where there's not a lot of harmony going on. So there's just a challenge around that scenario, which is a bit of a setback. Even with, and that could also be the energy here too, again, with the Four of Cups with the World. So there is success coming through here in an end cycle, but you're just not feeling it. Like I said, I think it's because there's, while you're going through seeing all of this positive energy that's starting to come through, and ideas and that kind of thing, that things that can make you happy and things moving in a fortuitous way for you. Again, there's other people that are around you that are sort of pulling that back. So you can't really harness the energy in the same way. It's not as powerful. It's more dilute, It's where there's a lot of challenges around the success, but it's not challenges where you have any control over it, because these are people around you that are somehow influencing, diluting your level of, excitement over your ability to persevere, and all of that is still here, but the rest of it seems to be taking the joy out of the situation. So again, with the Moon energy, I feel like there's some backsliding a little bit here, but it doesn't. But again, you need that period of reflection so that you can keep moving forward, and that's really what's happening there, because the Ace of Cups is renewed sense of, I'm going after my happiness regardless. I'm not letting something hold me back. So the Moon is, I see the things around me for what it is. It's a little bit of an understanding, a little bit of light being shed through here, but you're facing that difficult, situation, and you're trying to find your own voice in it again, and saying, okay, well, this is what I want out of it. This is, I can't be responsible for everybody's happiness. This is my journey of self-discovery and transformation and happiness, and, really trying to get at the core of me. So this is what you're kind of talking to yourself about. You're trying to find ways to emotionally awaken yourself so you can stay in this place of growth, even though, again, there's a lot of that energy still. You're still working through a lot of that. It's like a renewing energy, but you do feel renewed emotionally in this month, probably about the middle of the month here. Just when you start to feel, a little bit of abundance and a little bit of growth or movement in that first period, like right after you kind of decide to release all that baggage, then you're thrown back into this little bit of a battle here again, war of words, and then you reflect again. And like I said, it's like back and forth energy all over the place here. But Ace of Cups is where you're still being encouraged to, follow your emotional well-being, because this is where you're going to be able to listen to your inner voice, be open, be a better guide for yourself as you move into this world energy. World energy means you're at a completion here. We have the Nine of Cups. We also have that 10 of Cups. I mean, there's a progression here. And when we get to the world, again, it's a definite indicator that there is a reward here for you. And it's more than one, it's a repeating cycle of cards here. Not only is it the world, which is, of course, the card of success and really achieving something, but it's also the end cycle of a difficult period. But you also, again, have the Nine of Cups, that's wish fulfillment. You also have the Ten of Cups, that's happiness with family and overall joy and long-term sort of scenarios here. And not only that, you also have the Ace of Cups. It's like a renewal between, you know, that new start. It's a renewal emotionally for you. So by July, I feel like you're feeling somehow emotionally reawakened, where you can actually, you know, take a look at what's around you and actually feel like you're making some kind of, I don't want to say dent with yourself, but I mean, some kind of, there's an inner awakening, like I said, to really what brings about joy for you. I think that you're at that point now where you've kind of given up on other people for, you know, which would be sort of that people pleasing kind of energy. I feel like that is kind of bottoming out, and this is more about doing more for you, and this is about doing more for your own mental, you know, happiness and mental balance or whatever. I'm trying to find a word there for it. But either way, I mean, I just feel like you're in a happier situation because there's a lot of good things, a lot of newer things that are starting to open you up emotionally. I mean, there is a new emotional situation that's opening up for sure, but the rest of this is like a building on existing family dynamics where things are starting to show some promise, some hope, albeit very small in the beginning. And again, there's still a small little token here toward the end. But again, for others, this is a small emotional situation in terms of a love scenario. So again, I feel like you're really trying to find the deeper meaning in life as well, because the World card, again, is kind of a very cyclical card as well. So again, this is just, you know, a little bit, there's some other cards I'm going to pull forward here at the very end, which I think will tie into the rest of this and make a lot more sense. But I feel like you're just giving a lot more serious attention to your emotional state, you know, and you're really trying to, and there is fortunate increases that will come with all of this. Like I said, I mean, it's just, there's a lot of good luck that's approaching you in terms of that will be making you happy regardless. Like I said, the World card, though, it's indicating that there is going to be something coming in for you 100% that is a reward. There is a reward that's coming in. But you have finished something. You finished up a hard cycle here with that World card. So I feel like you don't really have to worry as much as you did with all of this triggering energy here. It's almost like you've learned the lessons. You've learned how to deal with it. And it's bringing about another sense of joy, inner joy, because you have been able to compartmentalize or know when to just, you know, hang on to your own energy and pull it back from situations. It's self-actualization, right? It's, you know, a situation where you are, you know, you're really just at a place where you can kind of travel and navigate through your own successes and not need the recognition, even though there's a little bit of disappointment here with regards to that. But it's almost like patting yourself, being able to pat yourself on the back, you know, instead of looking for external accolades, because it looks like a lot of this has had to be, you've dampened down your own level of happiness, you know, to the degree that you've exposed yourself to others that are going through their own emotional situations. So I just feel like you're looking for something deeper here. And again, the World tells you that there is accomplishment here. You have been able to acquire something that's going to increase your emotional well-being all around. And I feel like, as I said, there's a sense of even spiritual balance. All of that comes through with that. But you're getting a glimpse at a deeper meaning in your life, because the moon doesn't give you full light, it gives you a glimpse. So you have a little bit more of a deeper sense of who you are and that journey ahead in the month of July. And I feel like that is what's really creating a lot of the balance. Again, the World card and that Four of Cups, that cycle has ended, and it's really as good as it gets. When it hits the World card, the rewards are going to start coming through now. When we get to, like I said, Page of Cups energy is still very much Can be, again, around a specific, like a younger person or something along that line, but it is still energy of good news that's coming through, and it certainly speaks to, more of a sense of wonder. There's more of an emotional kind of excitement. Something is kind of lighting you up here. It's that energy of, being somewhere at the right place at the right time, and maybe that's what it is for you in your life. This is where you're actually going to get a break here, where something good is going to, if is starting to help you to rebuild something here, is what I would say. It's certainly still Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio energy here, very water sign-ish comes through, and I feel like a lot of you have been dealing with that for quite some time. But again, there's more of an upward swing here when we get to a lot of these cards, even though, again, it feels like your emotions are more positive, but externally you're not really resonating that way for people. They're seeing you show up a little bit differently, so you just don't want to show any vulnerability, I think, is really what's going on there. Again, I feel like you don't really want to lose sight of your emotional enthusiasm here, though. So even though you are kind of watering it down to some extent, I feel like this is a very empowering path for you. Like I said, it is very much connected to very strong emotional aspects that you need here on this path. So it is being open to all those possibilities so that you can get the most out of that situation. Page of Pentacles, again, a lot of self-improvement going on here for you. And again, I still feel like there's good news coming in here on a couple of fronts here. So with both the pages, because it is followed by the Empress, so something that's going to make you happy, and over here, again, something that's making you happy, and it's a wish fulfillment. And you do have a new emotional start here as well. So again, I still feel like there's going to be like more than one good thing that's coming in here in the month of July. It probably will trickle forward into August, because the World card is probably closer to the end of the month, I would say there, and that can also indicate travel. But there's just a lot of messages around, you know, enthusiasm and studies, and I see things around expecting messages, things around happiness. There's emotional family happiness here, even though there is some conflict around that as well in the earlier part of the month. But toward the end of it, it just feels like there's a certain amount of breathing room again, King of Swords, though, just to kind of, go into that one a little bit, because I haven't really touched on that. King of Swords, of course, is your energy, and a very mature energy. So I feel like you really, again, aren't compromising yourself emotionally. You're not compromising yourself for anything going on in this period anyway. I feel like you're really using you've got a lot of emotional energy here, but you're staying in this energy of, or at least showing up, coming out as more of a logical, calm, cool, collected kind of energy here. So where you're using your head, the intellect over the heart, that kind of thing. So again, I don't feel like it's almost like, even though you're evaluating all the things that you emotionally need to sort of fulfill yourself, I feel like you're very much propelled toward all of this growth. You're very excited about this new project. Again, this could be a side hustle or some new thing that is coming in. It's not something new where it's a new idea. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is something that I feel like you've been doing for some time, or I shouldn't say some time, but it's fairly new, but something that is coming in here that is still working its way through. You're still working your way through it. But it feels like it's a very lucrative path anyway, so just don't give up on that, whatever this is for you. It feels like it can really make a big difference in your life at some point. Again, you're still in the energy of, new beginning there with it, but at least it's moving in the right direction, and it's the right time. All of that sort of synchronistic kind of energy is coming through there. So something is expanding for sure. More on the big emotional cards though. Lots of emotional cards. Even when we get to the final cards over here, almost done here, guys, with the Three of Cups. I mean, that's still in around the energy of growth, abundance, collaboration. I don't know that I feel it's so much collaboration as far as a business project, but it does feel like it's more around emotionally. The things that are bringing you happiness are to do with a collaboration, are to do with a group of people. And again, I feel like your expression still comes off as, calm, cool, collected, maybe a little bit distant. But I feel like just at this time, that's what you're using to sort of balance out some of the overexcitement here that I see. So I'll just pull out the other cards that I had wanted to show you here as well. Again, they were kind of more extra cards that I just felt would be, because I do feel like, again, toward the end of the month, or at least there's a huge discussion, could be travel of some sort here a little further out as well. But I just feel like, in terms of the Three of Cups, there's something you're going to be moving forward to that might even be a little more public as well with that World card. So, but I feel like you're happy with the results and the way things are going either way. And I feel like, you're celebrating. There's something here that you're celebrating with a group of people toward the end of July or very soon after. Okay, so I'm going to go into these two cards here. These were the cards that I pulled at the very end. They kind of fell out together, and I thought, well, and that was actually before a lot of these other ones here. So I figured, although the question I was asking was, what is sort of the outcome of that month? So it looks like for sure, I would say 100% there's travel coming in. So some of you, it might be in July, others is just shy of that. But this energy, it definitely speaks to, this is, by car, if it is, I would say for the most part. But it's very strong energy toward, Cancer, again, coming through very strongly. But it definitely speaks to me as though there is going to be, some kind of huge new beginning. The month of July offers some kind of huge new beginning emotionally for you. The Wheel of Fortune, like I said, is still in around luck. And it seems to be you've got a lot of luck cards out here. So there's a lot of fortuitous energy here where you're creating your own destiny. This is where your self-discovery, this is where there's a trip, there's a holiday. Maybe that is what's actually allowing you to sort of pick yourself up, that kind of thing. But there's a lot of emotional energy in this month of July. And I do feel like, even with the Chariot card, like I said, it's coupled with all of the positives, all the positive cards here. So I feel like whatever happens in the month of July is just the start of it, because these are big major arcana energies, that Wheel of Fortune as well. So I feel like something is at play here that is something you don't see, because it's a really big energy. And I wanted to pull through some of the other cards here that I had as well, which are just more along the lines of just relationship energy that's coming through there also. So maybe I'll take these away so we can kind of get a clear slate, so to speak. Sorry guys, I don't have this better prepared, but life gets busy. Okay. I do what I can as I can. All right. So the next card's out. Again, these were more significant relationship to you, and what's sort of happening there. So I didn't pull clarifiers on this, so, it might not be quite as detailed, but I would say for the most part, there is something here that is kind of being called out. Something that is, in terms of this situation, is really, something is really being magnified as far as a situation. Again, whoever this person is, doesn't have to be a love relationship. It could be just a very significant relationship, as I mentioned. But because we had that Wheel of Fortune and all the lucky cards sort of shadow over all of this. So to me, it really looks like this is Luck is kind of moving. Luck and destiny is kind of moving here in your favor. And I feel like you can expect the unexpected here. This is, where you're discovering life. This is where there's some sudden changes that might be coming around again with that Wheel of Fortune, as well as the Judgment card. It's some kind of turning point in your life. And this is where I feel like life purpose is being evaluated. It's that kind of thing. So even in terms of a love scenario, like I said, I feel like the Judgment card really does speak to you really looking at the situation hard and really making a decision. So it seems like it's a very big decision too, because it comes to the point where you've got the Strength card here as well. And I just feel like that is kind of speaking to, could be very intense emotions, that kind of thing here as well. But again, it just feels like there's a lot of energy here that is kind of confusing in around a family situation as well. But there's something here around awakening to something, seeing something for what it is. It's an enlightenment of sorts, a wake-up call, all of those things. It's like you're wanting to start fresh in some way in this scenario here. So I feel like maybe there's a new idea that comes through here. But somehow it is putting things in perspective. It's freeing you from inner turmoil, that kind of thing, because you're able to think clearly when you're in that judgment position. And I feel a relationship, again, whether it's love or otherwise, or just significant person, is kind of going through a regeneration of sorts. So I feel like you're not really quite ready to call it quits or anything like that. I feel like you're really looking at the options at this time. I feel like you're really taking stock of life. You're really taking stock of the situation with this other person, or, again, whoever this is. And I think it's whether, you're choosing either to commit to it or not, like it's that kind of energy. It's where you're really making a bit of a decision of sorts here, and I feel like you are making that decision but it's almost a bit of a persevering energy with the Strength card here also. Again, Strength card is still in line with, a lot of passionate energy here. There's a lot of, I've got to persevere through this difficult time, instead of fighting the beast or myself or this other person. I have to try to find some balance in the situation. So it's almost like your endurance will pay off here, but you're in that place of, there's a lot of, if it's a love relationship, there's a lot of attraction. If it's a strong connection to somebody, it's a very intense connection. So again, I feel like you're doing whatever it takes to sort of stay on the higher ground here. Like I said, I feel like you feel confident and strong in your position. And with that Six of Wands, that's still, even though it can be a card of conquering in a certain sort of way, especially with all this combination, to me that six is about you're still trying to find triumph in the challenge, triumph in the situation. You're still trying to win it, but you're doing it with harmony and balance, that kind of thing, because the six is all about that. But again, the Six of Wands in terms of a relationship still speaks to, you want to win the situation. You want to be committed. You want to have deeper results. You want to have a deeper understanding of the situation. You want to be able to see the other side of things. You want to speak up. You don't want something to kind of fall to the wayside here and just, leave it there. You want to be involved with the decision in how things go forward. So you want to be, making some kind of movement. But with the Seven of Cups, I feel like you're still struggling to figure out how to do that at this point. You're not quite sure how you're going to do it just yet, but you are focusing on the things that you want in this month. and then you're evaluating based on those choices, or that will be how you make your choice. I don't feel like you're considering too much about what the other person wants. I think right now you're looking at the things that, you know, you're trying to make a decision based on keeping an open heart. You know, this is where there is some confusion, maybe in a love situation, or confusion in a family dynamic. And again, I didn't really pull any of the clarifiers to kind of get a little further into this, but I might do that at a later time. But right now, even with that 10 of Pentacles, I mean, there is still a very strong emotional bond here for sure. And I feel like you don't have to look for the connection. You don't have to do an awful lot yet, because even though you're looking at the things that are important to you and you don't really want to leave it alone, you want to act on it. The 10 of Pentacles tells me that there is a strong enough bond here that something, even though again I haven't pulled the clarifiers, something with that can still, you know, progress, because the relationship is still strong enough there. There's still a strong enough bond for something to be rewarding, you know, in some way. Okay, so we're going to get into the other ones here in terms of finances. Almost done, guys. Okay, finances are, again, I did touch a little bit of that on the other cards here, but this is just really final cards out. Again, you have the World card. You have finished a cycle. There is a reward coming. Page of Pentacles. Again, side project, new business, side hustle, something like that. You're really worried about something here, though. For sure, there's that 9 of Swords. It went from the 8 to the 9, still just in a different deck here. But there is still that energy of getting clear on how you're doing it, you know, how you're going forward in the month. Still a lot of energy around falling back on some resources here, but again, there is extra with that Page of Pentacles. There's extra with the Queen of Pentacles, but again, I feel like it's more along the lines of, with that Ace of Swords, there's some ideas coming through here as far as money goes. I just feel like you have a lot of clear ideas that are very strongly going to move you forward as far as money. And again, you are still drawing on some of your old resources here, but you do have something that's already started, something in the works here. And again, that Page of Pentacles has come through a couple of different times here. So Ace of Swords, like I said, I mean, this is still where you're kind of getting clear on getting rid of old thought patterns, anything that was holding you back in terms of your money. Anything that is going to require self-control is also in this reading, especially when we have the Strength card. Even with the other aspect of relationships, it still feels like in terms of your connections, I feel like there's a lot of willpower, there's a lot of courage that comes through with an Ace of Swords. It does mean that it's whatever you put your time and energy into, it can go both ways. If you put your time and energy into things that are not moving you forward, you get more of the same. But this is also that energy of, if you put your time and energy into something that's constructive and not destructive, you're going to get more of that as well. So again, it's a double-edged sword is what they say of this Ace of Swords. And it definitely cuts through any illusions, and it sees the layers of a situation. It's new ideas. It's resolving a problem, resolving any situations, which I feel you might have had something that was in around money that did come up here at some point. But again, you've already figured it out. You've figured out the resolve. Nothing here for you to be painfully going through, because you're still doing a lot more investigation. You're still doing a lot more research with that Page of Swords energy. Still getting a lot of energy around study. So for some of you, this is going back to school for sure, or some level of study, absolutely. But again, even with finances, you're making the necessary changes to move something ahead, and it's for sure really analyzing the situation and using a very, clear-cut approach to dealing with the situation. Wise decisions. Okay, that's what I have for you. So hopefully it gave you a little bit of insight for the month of July. Sorry it took so long to get through, guys. Sometimes I just feel like talking, I guess. Anyway, have a really great July and keep moving forward. We will see you in future reads. I might do another one that's a little bit shorter for sure in July. But keep moving forward. Remember who you are, and